Welcome, man. Big Boy's Neighborhood. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining today's live, man. And you know how when you jump on live, you always start to do that wait for everybody to get in kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So you start off with a little bit of lollygagging, you know, but today, man, usually when we do a live, we talk. But being that today we're going to talk about, you know, Diddy, where is this Diddy trial standing? You know, what is it like in the court as opposed to the court of public opinion? Yes. We'll speak on that, and also, you know, Tory Lanez, and then also there's just been a lot of pardons that's been going on as well. Right. And so I could go ahead and do all these educated guesses and maybes and I thinks, but when you talk like this, you got to bring a professional in, ladies and gentlemen. From West Coast Trial Lawyers, this man is the president of West Coast Trial Lawyers. And when you say president, really own the whole damn thing. But it's always good to have a title. But Neama Rahmani, Neama, welcome back to the neighborhood, bro.
Big, thanks for having me, man. Glad to be on.
Man, it is a pleasure to have you on, my man. Yeah, and the reason why we brought you into this live with the neighborhood, bro, is because Neama, you know everything. You know everything, Neama. So now, first off, I want to start off with the Diddy trial. We're in week, what are we in week 3 right now, Neama?
Week 3. Yeah. We're wrapping up week 3 tomorrow. So it's the prosecution's case in chief right now. They were originally going to go 6 weeks. Now they're saying they're going to go 5 weeks. So we got a couple more weeks. And on the stand right now is another one of the victims, Mia. She's testifying under a pseudonym, but she was one of Diddy's assistants.
All righty. Now, what we're seeing right now, just in the last 3 weeks, what have you seen? Because we've been waiting on this whole Diddy trial. When Diddy got, you know, arrested, I think it was it September, Neama?
Yeah.
May 5th sounds so far away. And now we're 3 weeks in. Is it laying out the way that you thought that this trial would lay out?
I do think it is going well for the prosecution. Look, some of the charges are hard. We're talking about sex trafficking. We're talking about racketeering. We're talking about prostitution. I think prostitution, it's in the bag. I mean, but that's not what the government's looking for. They're trying to nail him for the trafficking and for the RICO charges. So, you know, Cassie testified for 4 days. I thought she was a very good witness. She got crossed up a bit on her text messages and emails because she was talking about setting up these freak-offs, saying that she loved them, she wanted to participate in them. So the defense scored some points there. But they're bringing witness after witness that's showing this physical abuse, this sexual violence. I think the government's way ahead right now, Big.
So you really think that the government is way ahead? And the reason why I asked that, Neama, is because it feels like the court of public opinion is still there. Like there's a lot of things when it comes to sexual preference, when it comes to what someone enjoys. I mean, baby oil is not against the law. It's not. You know, yeah, no, it's not. It's not. You know, I've been breaking the law since I was a kid, especially my mom. You know, like she would put baby oil on us. But are you hearing the racketeering? Are you hearing those things right now? The sex trafficking? Are you hearing that, Neama?
Yes, and this is why. Look, sex trafficking is the hardest to prove. Look, I agree with you. Adults, they can consent to any sex they want, no matter how freaky it is, you know, no matter how much baby oil and Astroglide. But with the racketeering, Big, you can get there even if the government doesn't prove sex trafficking. So let's say the jurors are like, you know what? I don't know. Maybe she was into this. Maybe I believe the defense that this was all some swinger's lifestyle. When it comes to racketeering, there are other what we call predicate acts. So you can prove racketeering through arson, right? And that's all the Kid Cudi stuff, right? You can prove it through bribery, right? Paying the security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel for that video, right? Trying to get that surveillance video. You can prove it through obstruction of justice, witness tampering, the intimidation, right? You have Don Richard, you have all sorts of people coming in and saying, you know what? Puff said that if I talked, I'd disappear. I'd be in the East River. He'd kill me. You can get there from prostitution, right? We've talked about paying all these sex workers, right? You heard the Punisher testify. So there's a way for prosecutors to prove the racketeering, even if they don't get to sex trafficking.
Yeah, okay, well, you just broke that down very well, because for the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks, I've been like, man, it all sounds personal right now. It all sounds like preference, but when you break it down as such, it seems like that it's bad.
You know,
And when we say it's bad, Neema, do you feel like it's on course, or do you feel like now that we've seen about 3 weeks of testimony, do you feel like, excuse me, that it's even worse than what we thought?
It's pretty bad, Big. I mean, we're on the radio, but like you're talking about Cassie, doing drugs until the point that she threw up, right? And she's continuing on with these freak offs. Her having sex on her period, allegedly by force, when she has UTIs, that she had to go through with this. So they're describing these scenes in these hotel rooms that there's blood everywhere, there's baby oil, they'd go for days. Sometimes they need IVs afterwards. Listen, man, I get it. People can do whatever they want, but having her testify, and again, she's just the first victim, right? You got these other victims that are going to testify as well. You got Mia, you got Jane. So I think what the prosecution is trying to do, man, they're trying to overwhelm the defense, because look, you might not believe one victim, but a victim after victim, they're telling the same story. It's going to be hard for those jurors to go back in that deliberation room and say, you know what? I'm going to give this guy a walk. That's why I think he's going to be convicted.
And Neema, your background is prosecutor or defense?
So I'm a former federal prosecutor. I put more than 1,000 people in prison. This is what I used to do. Now I represent victims, people like Cassie, but I've tried a lot of cases. So some of these people that are armchair quarterbacking this, they've never been inside a courtroom, right? Some of these lawyers, I mean, this is what I did for years. I used to go after the cartel. That's where I cut my teeth. So look, the prosecutors in the Southern District in New York, where this trial is happening, they're really the best and the brightest. I mean, these are the people that are prosecuting Luigi Mangione. They're prosecuting Mayor Eric Adams. I mean, they hire from Harvard, where I went to school, I mean, all the time. So I wouldn't bet against them, Big.
Right. And being that you've been in that position, do you feel like they're doing, like the job is on course?
I do. Look, they're keeping it really tight. We're not hearing about all the celebrities. Look, I mean, that's what everyone's been asking me, right? Who else was there, right? Who else parted? They're not going on these tangents. They're not making it a circus. They're focused on, Cassie and these other victims. And they're bringing what's important, Big. They're bringing in the former employees, right? You've had 3 assistants now testify that they all saw the same thing: the drugs, the violence, the sex. It's going to be hard for the defense to say, listen, they're all lying. And if anyone's watching, I'm telling you right now, Big, I know you got a driver, you got an assistant. You got to treat those people well, man. They know where the bodies are buried. Those are the first people that end up testifying against you, man, when things go
Well, I don't have a driver nor an assistant, so I would have to testify against myself. Like, yeah, he did it. Neema, the one question I do want to ask, and I've been asked this, and I've asked this question many a times, why is this Diddy trial, why is it not televised?
Yeah, this is the problem when you have trials in New York. So both New York State and federal court, they don't allow cameras in the courtroom. Obviously, we're in LA, going back to OJ and Menendez, court TV, man, we would watch those trials gavel to gavel, right? New York, it just doesn't allow it. This is one of those things where like each state has their own laws and their own rules. So that's why we see the sketch artist, Diddy with the white hair. He doesn't have his Just for Men hair gel. His assistant really outed him, man. I mean, it was bad, Diddy's been dyeing his hair this whole time.
Hey, man, when I saw the sketch artist and Louis that worked with us, Louis absolutely hate the sketch artist. I say, and I always tell people, I say, it looked like the sketch artist is like laying on his stomach with his feet in the air and kind of just like doodling, like, But yeah, I do I catch the gray hair, I catch everything. But yeah, that was my main thing. Like, this is one of those, Neema, if it was televised, where I would not go anywhere because I would be locked at the house watching this. And, of course, you get your daily reports, and we talk about it in the neighborhood as well. And, you and the TMZs of the world. But it was not, man, I think he caught like a good little situation with it being in New York and not being televised, because the court of public opinion and just visuals and everything, man, it would be extremely bad for Diddy, even more so.
Oh, it'd be bad, man. I mean, you're seeing pictures of the bruising, right? Videos of these freak-offs, right? Because Diddy would record him, right? And he would pleasure himself, but he wanted to keep the videos to have control over Cassie and others. So imagine you're in that courtroom and Big, people are lining up from like the night before. This is like one of those trials of the century. But you're right. If it were televised, then it would be an even bigger circus. So that's why people like me, I mean, look, I got this IFB here, you know, I'm just going on the news every single day, every channel. I'm doing Fox, I'm doing ABC, you know, whatever it is. And I'm giving the recap because, look, people can't watch the trial like they want to. And I'm a big believer that they should have cameras in every courtroom in this country and they should be transparency. But we got to take that up with the Supreme Court.
Man, I think the camera in the courtroom suck. You know, I want it in the courtroom, but God forbid if I ever have to go to court, then I definitely would want it in there. and how does one get a seat? Are they doing like a lottery system out there? Because people are really like waiting in line and almost jumping for joy when they get a seat.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it with Menendez right here in Van Nuys, right? Everyone's trying to get a seat. I mean, people are waiting in line. So New York, you know, people have money. So there's these professional line sitters. I mean, they show up and they get there, you know, sometimes midnight the night before. They're sitting in line, they have their chair. And then some rich dude shows up, pays them, gets their seat, and they're in the courtroom.
Why do you think people are so intrigued? Not just how we will watch it on television, Neama. Why do you think people are so intrigued with doing a lottery and somebody getting out there and, you know, selling their position? Why do you think we're so intrigued to get into that courtroom to see this Diddy trial?
Because Big, it's got it all, right? The celebrity factor, right? One of the biggest artists of our generation. It has sex, it has drugs, it has violence, it has race, it has gender. I mean, you name it, it's got it all. You know, you got Diddy, you know, trying to blow up Kid Cudi's car, breaking into his house, man. I mean, the jealousy, you got the different love triangles, Cassie playing both sides, man. It could be its own kind of telenovela, man. It's really got everything.
The Punisher.
Yeah, the Punisher.
Yeah,
the Punisher is due. And it's crazy because my wife asked me this question, Neama. She was like, because the Punisher was a witness, right?
Yeah.
But the Punisher is now doing interviews.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, why can't he go do interviews? And I was like, dude, that's Neama.
Yeah. So that's a great question. Yeah, he is on CNN and Laura Coates. I mean, she's one of my favorites. I'm on a show all the time. He's talking about when you're done testifying, you're clear. So if anyone's ever been a witness in court, once you're done, the judge will ask, can this witness be excused? Are they discharged? Or are they subject to recall? That means they may come back. So if you're done, you're discharged. It's like whether you're a juror or a witness, you're free. You can talk about the case. You can do whatever you want. And that's what happened with the Punisher.
Yeah, and I know the Punisher. I read, like, they put up 6 pages of his book, and that was him explaining about how he started, you know, with Diddy and Cassie the first night, the first encounter, and he talks about it through the whole, like, damn near the whole 2 years, and it's about 6 or 7 pages, right?
Really?
And that book, I don't know, Neama, how much knowledge you have of that book, but he doesn't say Diddy, he doesn't say Sean Combs, he doesn't say Puffy, he never says Cassie's name. Was that book, and if you have any knowledge of, was that book written before we saw all this Diddy stuff happening?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, it was written, and it was written without their names. So, you know, I mean, look, the last thing I think anyone wanted is to out Diddy, right? It was when Cassie filed her lawsuit in November 2023, then everyone started piling on, right? Really, you know, and I think we talked about it in the neighborhood, you know, it came out that Diddy paid her 20 million, the hotel paid her 10 million, she got 30 million. And that's something the defense has argued, hey man, this is all about money, this is shakedown, this is extortion, this is a money grab. But you know, the question is, if Diddy had paid her earlier, right, when she wanted to get paid, he might not have been in this situation. The Punisher wasn't naming names. Everyone was kind of talking about it, but it wasn't a case. Only when Diddy didn't pay Cassie did this whole thing kind of blow up. And he's probably kicking himself right now. Should have paid.
Oh, yeah, man. When the floodgates opened on that one, bro, it was like everybody had a reason. Because as soon as it went public and you could start to go with your own position or your own, you know, it happened to me as well. It just opened up numerous lawsuits. It was so many that was thrown up against the wall. You know, you're starting to see some that's sticking now, Neama, but so many were thrown up against the wall, man. I even know someone that listened to us in the neighborhood, man, from years ago that she had, you know, that she had a case as well that she, you know, threw her hat in, but it, you know, quickly got kicked out. But yeah, it was like if you could return back the hands of time, then he probably would have doubled what he gave to Cassie.
Yeah,
Just for what's going on now.
Listen, man, the guy's worth $1 billion, right? Cassie was reportedly asking for 20 million, maybe 30 million. I mean, that's the number that's been thrown out there. Apparently he only wanted to pay her $10 million. That's 1% of his net worth, right? For someone that you were with for 10 years. If I were advising him, I would be like, bro, pay your girl, man. Pay your girl, because listen, when I was a prosecutor, I talked about those former employees. The two best sources of information for me always were exes, husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, and those former employees, man. They know where the bodies are buried. You got to take care of them, man. Otherwise, they can turn on you.
We're kind of seeing the same thing when we talk about, formers. We're seeing the same thing now with Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson is 85 years of age, man. And he have 4 former staff people that's coming up and saying, out of camera views, he was coming at us sexually. He was doing certain things, and that came from the staff as well.
Yeah, I mean, you have, and they're all, Latina, and they're all saying it was the same thing, right? Smokey would come out of the shower, has the towel on, he laid the towel, and they're telling the same story. Look, the reason this is important is when you have victim after victim, it can be a Smokey, it can be Diddy, it can be Epstein, it can be Weinstein, Cosby. When they're all telling that same story, the jurors aren't going to disbelieve everyone, right? One person, can obviously lie, but is everyone lying? And they're all got together and they're all telling the same story? Yeah. Not really. And we know, man, abusers oftentimes, man, they don't abuse just one person. There's multiple victims out there.
And I think Cosby, I think he had like 70 or something. like Cosby, it was like, man, did you do something with every white woman in America?
Cosby too. It was the same thing at his trial. I think there was like 6, and that's why he was convicted. I mean, his conviction was later overturned because he had good lawyers. They said the DA and him had a deal where he wasn't going to be prosecuted, but he was still found guilty despite denying that any of this ever happened.
Do you think, from as many times have you been in court, and as many cases have you been a part of it as a prosecutor, spectator, comrade, confidant, consultant, do you see this as being extremely bad for Diddy, and do you see a real sentencing here, if from what you see so far in these 3 weeks and from what you know professionally?
I do, Big, and let me tell you my prediction. I think he's going to be convicted. I think he's going to get 15 or more years in federal prison. And look, he's 55 and he's already aged a lot. I mean, this is going to end badly for him. I don't think the judge in the case, Subramanian, is going to cut him any slack. Here's not someone that tried to work out a plea. Here's not someone that accepted responsibility. He put his very pregnant ex-girlfriend of more than a decade on the stand, made her relive all this abuse. I mean, we're talking about terrible stuff, her getting urinated on. I mean, it was bad, So what judges look for, and look, the jury decides guilt or innocence, right? But it's the judge that imposes the sentence. If I'm the judge, I'm thinking, well, why should I give this guy any kind of break when he hasn't accepted responsibility for any of this? In fact, there's been some evidence that he's tried to discourage and dissuade and intimidate witnesses from testifying.
Yeah, and as the trial plays out, Neama, I'm looking, because at one point we had a broad stroke of what the Kid Cudi situation was. And then when we saw Kid Cudi get on the actual stand, and the being in Kid Cudi's house, the Molotov cocktail to the car, the dog being locked in the bathroom, it was more than I thought from just the broad stroke of Kid Cudi and Cassie having a brief relationship. It was worse than what I thought when you saw how it kind of, played out.
Yeah, you're right. And look, it starts with Diddy threatening to kill Kid Cudi, right? Then he breaks into his home, right? And he's got a gun. If it wasn't for Capricorn Clark, right? He might have shown up there. Who knows what would have happened? You have other witnesses who are testifying that once Diddy went looking for Suge Knight at Mel's Diner, he got 3 guns in his lap. Obviously, the car gets torched, and you have Kid Cudi saying, "Listen, man, like, I don't want to have anything to do with this. I was worried for my own safety," right? I mean, this guy is like completely unhinged. So, look, man, a lot of people have had interactions with Diddy, but the people that are testifying in this trial, they're really showing this kind of mob style violence, right? That's what the racketeering is all about. It doesn't have to be a cartel or street gang or, your traditional mob. It can be any organization that's doing criminal activity, including Bad Boy Records. So if they're engaged in drug trafficking and all this stuff, that's racketeering. You just need 2 racketeering acts over a 10-year period, and we got that here, Big.
Yeah.
Man,
A lot of intimidation. I feel like you're getting a lot from this trial. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It feels like you intimidated a lot of people with the blackmailing, with the tapes that he had. And but to me, what's crazy is the people that aren't speaking out, Neema, right now, can they later on come back and speak out if they ever wanted to, or once this trial's over, it's over?
It's over, man. This is their one shot. So, they had a tough time with victim number 3. I don't know if she's going to show up. Maybe she's scared. Maybe she was paid off. Maybe she's just embarrassed, right? But, man, yeah, I mean, Lou, you're right. We're talking about intimidation, right? So Diddy has these Freakoff tapes, right? And him and Cassie, they're going through their thing. And then he threatens to release them on the internet and send them to her parents' work, so they get fired. So Regina Ventura, Cassie's mom, goes and gets a home equity line on her house, $20,000. She wires it to Diddy so he doesn't release the tapes. That's extortion. I mean, again,
It's the mom, bro.
Oh, yeah, and that shows you right there, man. $20,000 from a mother to a billionaire.
Yeah.
Is like, come on, man.
Yeah. And look, she was such a good witness. The defense didn't even ask her any questions, man. They got up there, they're like, listen, man, I'm not gonna mess with mom,
Like, sit down. Any cross-examination? Nah. I think you can go ahead and let her go. And we've recently, Neema, we've seen some pardons going. I was saying how Trump got his pardon pen back out again.
Yeah.
And we've seen, like, from our genre, we've seen, NBA YoungBoy was just pardoned. There was a partial pardon for for Hoover. And do you know what that means when they say that he was pardoned on the state side or the federal side?
Yeah. So it's the federal charges. So, Trump can only issue a pardon for federal crimes. And look, Rolling Stone's reporting that Diddy's team, they know that it's looking bad. They've already reached out to Trump to try to get a pardon. So
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, look, when Trump's giving out pardons like it's Halloween candy, this is the best time to be a criminal in the United States, Big. I'm telling you, especially white-collar criminal, man, this is the time to do it. Bank fraud, tax fraud, no problem. Trump just handing it out like it's nothing. But look, I know we've been talking about other people that are looking for a pardon. Tory Lanez, that's got to go state, right? So that's got to go to Newsom. Newsom's been a little bit tighter when it comes to that. Hasn't pardoned the Menendez brothers. So it depends on where you're convicted. If it's state, it's got to go governor. If it's federal, you got to get a pardon from the president.
Right. So with Larry Hoover, he had state and federal. Correct.
Yeah.
So that's why it's called a partial pardon.
Yeah. So he had federal charges that he was pardoned, but there were still those state charges I think he had to plead to. I think he ultimately got probation on those. So ended up not being serious, but that was my understanding of the case. He had both state and federal, so he can only be pardoned on the federal.
Hey, Neema, how do, and you may know way more than we, how do pardons work?
Yeah, so the way a pardon works is there's 2 possibilities. It's a full pardon, which means the conviction never happened. You weren't even charged. It's completely wiped clean. Then there's what's called commuting your sentence, which means the conviction's there, misdemeanor, felony, whatnot, and then you just don't have to serve the time, right? So you can walk out a free man or woman, but you still have the felony conviction on your record.
And how does one start that? Is there, because I've been hearing many things too. I hear like, it costs a certain amount. And then I'm like, where does that money go? Why does this person get a pardon and the other doesn't? And of course, we see Trump pardon, his pardons are personal pardons as well. January 6th insurrectionist pardon, over 1,000. We've seen the reality family that was the what not which one?
Todd and Julie Chrisley. Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, man, she at the house already. You know what I'm saying? So those are more, it seems like more personal. But
yeah, look,
monetary.
It's all politics, Big. It's not what you do, but who you know. And look, that's just the reality, man. If you're friends with Trump or someone in his inner circle, you may have a license to commit a lot of crimes. That's what I'm saying, man. Diddy's currying favor with them already because he sees the writing on the wall.
Right, man. And can you a pardon comes like Trump couldn't stop the trial. A pardon would come after.
No, at any time. So you saw, look, I'm critical of Trump, but let's be fair, right? Joe Biden pardoned his son Hunter. So he was convicted at one trial, right? And then he pleaded guilty. As the jury was walking in on the second, he hadn't even been sentenced. So at any time in the proceedings, before trial, during trial, after trial, conviction and sentencing, you can be pardoned.
All righty, Neama. I know that the world wants your advice and wants your input and your commentary. Thank you so much, Neama, for sharing your knowledge with us in the neighborhood, brother. And we'll catch up to you, Neama, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Big. Great seeing you guys.
Tell everybody at Fox and CNN and MSNBC and all these damn outlets that you do. Tell them we all said hello.
Yeah,
I will. I'm gonna hop on another one right now. Thanks, Big. Take care.
That's our man Neama right there, man. Neama Rahmani. That dude, like I said, Neama he knows everything. Right. He knows everything, West bro. Coast? Yeah, West Coast trial lawyers right there, man. And when we were briefly, I wanted to speak on Tory as well, right? The video that came out, and I wish I would have asked Neama this. How in the hell does that video get out, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that video get out?
It's one of those things where, like, I feel, well, I think TMZ got it first. So if TMZ got it first, either somebody sold it to them and took it out of the prison and sold it to them,
right?
Or I don't know if there's a way to it has to where video has to be public and they can access it.
No, I don't know about that one.
But that
seemed like straight CO. You know what I'm saying? That looked like somebody was like, man, you didn't get this from here.
Yeah.
And sent it on. But if you just joining us in the live or just a brief, recap, man, we had Neama Rahmani in here from West Coast Trial Lawyer. We had a chance to speak on what's going on with Diddy.
Yep.
We're going into wrapping up week 3. We had a chance to speak about Capricorn that's been, Cap that's been on the stand, Kid Cudi on the stand, the charges that's going down, and even Neama being a prosecutor at one point. Hearing him say that this is bad for Diddy and that he see him getting 15 plus years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. This is right now what if I was Diddy, I would tell them, like, I know that you guys cleared me for 4 shirts, 4 pair of pants, and 2 pair of shoes. They had to clear him for that. I would like, dude, I would take back one of these shirts and 1 pair of shoes and some slacks. Just bring me a red MAGA hat. I was like, man, take all this stuff back. Bring me a red MAGA hat.
That will be the biggest Trump supporter right now.
To get on out, man. But really, just the whole setup, man. The court of public opinion. We had a chance to speak about why it's not televised, and I get asked all the time why it hasn't been televised, and I asked too, like, why we're not seeing this. And he was saying that in New York they don't allow cameras. And when you think about Menendez, when you think about think about the OJ trial, even the Johnny Depp, you know what I'm saying? Though I guess those were in California. Like we wouldn't have known about shit in the bed.
Yeah, and
you know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for that one.
And Big, a lot of people, we actually have a poll up right now asking people, like, do you think Diddy is guilty on our live? And 84% of people think he's guilty. 16% think he's not guilty. Which to me is really interesting.
What, though?
I think the charges.
Right. You think?
Yeah, like the racketeering, not the sexual stuff. Because I think everyone
even
agrees.
when Neama broke down racketeering and the things like that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's a broad stroke, and he made me understand it. I was like, oh shit. So
I think with the extortion of the Cassie's mom, the holding the tapes and threatening people to release them, obviously the prostitution's there because he's paying people, or Cassie is, I guess, but you probably know where the money's coming from. Like, with those 3 things, dog, I think you got racketeering, bro.
Yeah, man. Hey, Wacko, do you have a time running for us right now? Because I don't have an actual time running for us right now. We're okay, cool.
30 minutes.
Cool. There you go.
Another comment that we have here, because people are going back and forth talking about the book, but T-Sec said we should be very careful. T-Sec, S-E-C-K.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, man, you're going to be in court, homie.
Kind of shadowy and
yeah, man.
He said that we should be very careful how we judge others, be neutral, and observe the behind-the-curtain business. People are so gullible and easily swayed by the follow the crowd. Control is a major disease.
Yeah, man. And I think that's what we were seeing when we were talking about the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
Like when the trial first started off, it was more sexual preferences and things like that. And speaking with Neama, it's like, okay, well, there is some racketeering and movement and, you know, extortions and all that kind of stuff, right? But when you look at how T-Sec, how he was breaking it down, now we're in the court.
Yeah.
You know, so we can sit here and say, oh, you don't know what's going on. You're starting to see documentation.
Yeah.
You're starting to see witnesses. You're starting to hear testimonies that this isn't just hearsay anymore and, you know, the benefit of the doubt and all that kind of shit.
I don't think I'm the only one, but when it came down to from the beginning when they're like,
no, I didn't like men too.
Oh, no,
I do. I love men.
Nobody I don't like men.
Right.
But you know when it came down to like, oh, the Diddy has the freakoffs. In my head, I'm like picturing like back in like the Greek days where they had these like massive orgies where it's just like everybody just smashing everywhere. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And now that now in hindsight, now it's like, okay, these freakouts were kind of a little more just him, Cassie, and a third person.
Or very private from what it looked like. Very intimate. No pun intended. But because I've been to like Diddy's parties. People go to Diddy's parties. You know, NBA All-Star Weekend, you were there. His 50th birthday, everybody was there. BET weekend, you know, clubs, everything. And so people would ask me like, man, had you ever heard of the Freakoff? I had never heard of a Freakoff.
Yeah.
Never heard of the title, never heard of anything. And now that the trial has been going on, I noticed that, okay, it wasn't 30, 50, 100 people.
Celebrity
it
names.
was, you know, it was kind of like, okay, it's this small knit group. But I also we seen pictures of people like in white, and it looked more than just Cassie and, you know, and the Punisher.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was some people, so maybe, you know, maybe it could get up to 10 people. I don't know, but it definitely wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it'd be like slipping slides and, you know, 100 people there, you know.
Beds, just massive.
Yeah, just nasty. What that smell like? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? What kind of assistant got to clean that shit up?
But there was an assistant that had to do all that.
Yeah, someone had a job.
The setup and then the cleanup, bro. That's freaking gross.
Hey, Ani, you've been with me for many years, right? If I called you and asked you, and really think about this, don't think about the Diddy thing. The Diddy thing, none of this shit happened. If I called and asked you and I said, Ani, you know, we're about to get on this flight. I'm in Vegas. Can you come and just, you know, straighten my room up? Would you have did it?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like there's not a lot you would say. I'd be like, no.
Right.
Like, okay.
Well,
I trust you. That's why. Like, I trust you.
Can we cut the live now?
No. But like, I feel like it's an easy job almost, because I'd be like, oh, okay, just clean up this room, not thinking about what happened.
No, I'm talking about if I had like some crazy shit in there. Like if I, you know what I'm saying? Like
dog.
shit just hanging and you know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
get gloves though.
right. Yeah, you would have to have gloves.
Yeah, no way.
I'm snitching.
Right, you really?
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't hire me to do something like that.
But you know what? This isn't like it's a temporary agency.
Yeah.
This isn't like somebody came in and they're like, okay, well, your job today, you're going to go to this address. This is people that were like assistants and trust and NDAs and all that kind of stuff. And you got to think, if this been going on for decades,
right?
And you're saying you're snitching, you wouldn't have snitched.
Maybe.
And the thing is, you probably wouldn't have made it through the cut.
True.
You know, you got to know who you're trusting. You know what I'm saying?
Has it ever popped in your head where you're like, what and how much did J-Lo see?
Everybody, I think that.
Yeah.
Right?
Everybody.
100%.
I think that about everybody. Like how could you, everybody?
It's funny you brought that up because I literally just saw a video that was like surfacing the internet, and it's like showing when Diddy kind of got a little jealous about her kissing someone. Because you know she's an actor, so she had a role where she had to kiss someone, and he's like, oh, I don't want you to do all of that, like, and she comes out saying like, I don't know, I think he's tripping, it's just I'm acting, you know, but it's like that jealousy. Right, I
don't know how much any of them saw.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and these you know the names that I'm about to say are my peoples too.
Yeah, of course.
How much did Khaled see?
Oh,
yeah.
How much did French Montana see?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and these, you know, great, rightfully so, these motherfuckers like, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even on social media, I saw a clip of Khaled recently where he was like doing that running thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have kind of like shied off of, social media with the daily postings and shit like that. Because I've had people that ask me, what did you see?
Yeah.
King George
Did
in
you
here.
know about Freakoff? So if I'm just know Diddy and I've done interviews, I didn't roll with Diddy. So if I'm being asked what did I see?
Yeah.
What the fuck did they see?
Yeah.
I know, man.
Yeah.
I just picture like just for example, like the J-Lo Diddy relationship, right? They're two super famous celebrities. So who knows how much time they really spent inside their homes, each home. So, Diddy had that one room where there was a lot of stuff in there. So I'm wondering, like, was it always, don't go to that door.
Yeah.
Don't go to that
But you
door.
know what?
Don't go to that door.
Louis, you and I, we
Like-
worked together for over 10 years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Same with Ani, over 10 years.
Yep.
Marty, you've been with us for like almost six months, right?
Uh-huh.
But with that, we all know our patterns too.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
guys know about what time I'm going to eat. You guys know how the show is ran.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah.
I'll come in with a cooler on my shoulder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
know what Ani's doing. I know Mariana. I know that you're in the car doing your makeup before you come. There's things you just know.
That's true.
Right.
So if you're with someone and there's things you just know, you didn't know that.
No way.
Stop it.
There's no way.
You don't
No,
think
I
they're-
went in a
yeah.
rabbit hole about like a gun case they had, and they had to make a run for it from a club like Diddy and J.
Oh,
Well,
you
that's
talking
the
about that?
Shine
Yeah,
incident.
Shine. Remember Shine?
I didn't
Got
know
over a
that.
decade for that
Oh
shit.
yeah, so Shine was on Bad Boy Records,
Mhm.
dope ass
Yeah,
artist,
man.
by the way. And then he ended up taking the rap for the gun. Now he says, and then that's the reason he got deported,
Yeah.
and now he can't come back to the
Oh.
U.S. because he's banned from coming back. To
Yeah,
the
but
US.
he's in like government over there. He's not a gangster
now
anymore.
he's like
You know what I'm
a
saying?
Politician over there,
And
but-
he came out when Diddy did one of those, like it was one of those acknowledgement things, Black Excellence, and like some kind of award that he won. And Shine came out and performed with him, and that was huge.
yeah, that was
And they just recently had like this one thing about Diddy, a documentary, and Shine said the reason why he did that is because it was an upliftment for the people in his country. You know, it's from Belize, because things were promised, money was given, so on and so forth. So he's a politician.
Oh, wow.
He did it for his country,
I
not
didn't
for
know
Diddy.
that.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then, so Diddy ended up paying him whatever he said, because in my mind, I'm like, does he really pay? Because this guy's going to jail.
Man, I think they took 10 calendars, 10 years,
10
from,
years
from
from
Shine.
Shine.
Oh, that's not worth
You know
it.
what I'm saying? And others got the best lawyers, and it was this young guy that shot up a club. You know what I'm saying? So this is probably something that Shine or others see and say, man, we've always,
Yeah.
had to, take a fall
I
and look
wonder
the
if
other
they'll
way.
bring that up in the trial eventually.
I don't know. You brought it up on the live.
Yeah, I know. Like, I wonder
Jesus
how
Christ.
far they'll go. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
With that stuff. But yeah, dog. Like you said, the racketeering is obviously there.
Oh yeah.
The sex trafficking situation, I think, is a little stretch because you got to technically transport somebody from like a different state or
But
whatever.
it depends on
blah,
how broad it is. It's like, hey, if I gave you a ticket, you flew over here, then I held a ticket, and
Yeah.
you didn't go back, or I moved you from New
Yeah.
York to New Jersey via car. It's like
And then also I popped the question like
you popped the question.
No, not popped the
Congratulations
question.
to you, man.
I popped the question, but-
Congratulations to you and Myra,
nice.
man.
Asked myself
This is a hell of a thing to bring up, man. So y'all set a date or what?
I asked myself the question: how long have they been investigating him for?
Hey, man, when it comes to the feds,
Like,
the feds don't build a case. The feds got a case.
yeah,
So when the feds walked up on Diddy in New York that September that day, they already had him. When they raided the houses, they already had it. They just needed to get some of that, hands-on, hardcore, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, once man, the feds.
I
like,
had a friend who was shipping weed through like the postal service,
Mhm.
and he would ship it.
Why
out
would
his-
you say that on the
he would-
line?
It's already done. He would
Yeah, but I mean, now somebody can just look into you. Like, why would you say that? Even when Neema started bringing up like the cartels and all that shit, I was like, dude, I don't talk about cartels
But it involved the
and
feds.
drug lords and all that shit, man. Like,
He was bragging about how successful it was, and he did it all the time, and he never got caught. And what happened is that the feds knew the first time he did it,
oh yeah,
but they just
Yeah,
they
like,
just
let him
sat-
keep
They
going.
just sat back and get him. They're not gonna bust him for just one.
yeah, yeah.
They just sent him back and just let him get like
My
15,
man was like,
20
I
of them
got
in.
20 of these transactions.
That's wild.
Hell
And then,
yeah.
Boom, here's your receipt. And
Yep.
then they busted him, dog. And I was like,
Hey man, the
damn.
feds owe some of those unless you got a
They're smart.
lot of money or whatever, bro. you might as well just put the handcuffs on yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
myself.
Like, all right, that's when you be like, all right, you caught me. Man, because they tacky. They be like, do you recognize his voice? And it'll be like, yeah, man. So Sean, bring that on over here, man. Then, like, oh yeah, that's me. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you recognize these pictures? Like, yeah, well, that's when you start trying to lie. Like, yeah, it look like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it says it says hello on your hoodie. Like, oh, yeah. No, what about this side profile? Like, oh shit, you got me. Yeah, got me, man.
I wonder who that third victim is, though.
That
Because
one
you know
that they said may not testify.
Yeah, Neema was like, who knows if they'll testify because maybe they felt embarrassed or.
What if you found out it was me?
I don't know. What if it's J-Lo?
Oh,
There's no way.
I mean, you never
How it's
know.
no way.
You never
Not as a
know.
witness. I don't know. Damn. Because you could be subpoenaed. It could be a mighty subpoena too. Like
Yeah,
such and
that's
such.
true.
But I think that if it was J-Lo,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? People would say her name.
Oh, true.
That's
You know,
true.
like you know, oh, they call J-Lo or they're gonna call J-Lo or something like that.
Well, maybe that's why she don't want to testify.
But if it's a subpoena,
Oh,
have
yeah,
to
they
go.
would have already
you
like
have
talked
to.
about
you
it.
know, yeah, like
Damn. But Big, you know how you were saying since it's a federal case, like they already have something they've looked. Remember when the whole Young Thug thing happened and we're like, oh, he's going for sure. The feds got him. Like, how did he end up? That's why it's like also like more people are thinking he's not guilty as it's going on right now in our live. But is there a way that he could get out because the feds, I mean, the Young Thug thing.
I would never say never. You know what I'm saying? Never say
Yeah.
never. But even with Thug, right? Thug was one of those. He had some some hearsay and he said, and because his case was built.
Yeah.
His case was built, but his defense was able to pluck away at it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Was able to pluck away, and then people that was on the stand was like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, they were all scared too. Like,
I don't know, like hell,
Because a lot of people sometimes when I read the comments, like I love reading comments when
I
the
can
trial
tell.
comes out. But people in the comments will be like, "All right, like I see he's done domestic violence, he's done this, but I don't see any
Right.
racketeering."
That's the way I
so-
was feeling. That's what I was saying with the court of public opinion at first. You're seeing these things, and I'm watching, the professionals, on CNN and all these kind of things, and they're like, oh, having baby oil is not against the law. Watching, someone have sex is not against the law. And I'm thinking the same thing, like, okay, that's not. But when Neema started explaining certain shit, I was like, ooh.
Like, wouldn't Hugh Hefner technically?
Hugh Hefner would be fucked if he was alive.
Yeah, like the things I hear about Playboy Mansion.
If Hugh Hefner was alive right now, he would be fucked.
Yeah.
And you hear they want to go and exhume his body. They want to dig his body up and put him on trial.
Oh my god! I thought
No,
you were
for real.
serious. Really?
Yeah, this is for real, man. It was like somebody got to go to trial.
What?
I'm just bullshitting.
Are you
I
dead
know, me too.
serious?
I'm like,
Yeah,
you should know
yeah.
he's playing on you. Like, I'm like,
No, you was gone too, though.
Yeah, I was.
She was like, I've only been here 6 months.
that's what I'm saying.
You've been here 10 years.
I was like, that sounded so good.
Yeah, man. Because even when you see some of the shows after
Yeah.
Hugh Hefner passed, they killing him, but they say shit. Hugh Hefner by today's book, he would be fucked for that.
That's another
Playboy
where,
Mansion
like,
stuff.
I think there was too
Mhm.
many people in there where for sure
He got to be somewhere in heaven or hell in his pajamas. Like, I'm so glad. You know what I'm saying? I'm so glad that I was gone.
But
yeah.
that visitor list got to be crazy.
What, over at
dog.
Playboy Mansion?
Oh yeah.
Hell, I was there.
Oh, you were there.
Hell yeah,
I wish
man.
I was there. I was like growing up.
I never went to a Playboy Mansion party.
I've
We
always-
shot like a commercial or some
Really?
shit. It was something that we shot there.
Always wanted to go to a Halloween
Yeah.
party at
Same.
mansion, dog.
Thank
just
God I
sounds
wasn't
cool.
at some of that shit though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
The grotto.
yeah, I seen the grotto.
Oh,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? But I went there twice. One time we had a shoot, and the second thing, I don't know if it was like it was like very tame.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't like Playboy bunnies running around. And,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying? It was like a
Peacocks.
fucking waste. But that was probably God looking out for me too.
Oh, it's a waste.
Why somebody pull up a picture with me in the grotto like, what's up, wacko? Hold on. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that a close friend of mine, she's like my sister. She was actually dating Hef.
Oh, really though?
Yeah, so she tells me I know a lot of
Oh,
interesting
yeah.
stories.
Man, well, we'll do a live on
Oh,
that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
And you sound like you're doing a fucking slow jam show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And this one's going out to Payaso from you know what I'm saying?
Do a movie trailer.
Yeah. In a world. In a world. See, there it is, man. Hey, Jason, note to you, man. Make sure we get Wacko for for some VL work. We never, man. We keep going to Tory Lanez and we jump right off of Tory Lanez.
Yeah, exactly, dog.
Tory Lanez, man. The video that came out with Tory Lanez being assaulted.
The stabbing.
Hey, bro.
Scary.
He survived.
Mm-hmm.
He survived because that dude was out to effing kill him, bro. If you poke somebody 14 times, that is a lot. And now that they've had the video out and you see the visuals of it, I'm making it sound like it's a Vulture's video. When you see the visuals, but just the way that he was knocked down, and they say that the dude had the knives that they had them, he had them like secured, like taped to him, kind of.
Right.
So with each punch, so that way it couldn't fly away, nothing, man. Wow. And when you see Tory like arms moving around and his leg up, dude, he was fighting for his life. And then there's a still picture of him, dude, and he's just blood dripping on his sweatpants, on his his correction uniform and not correction, but his inmate uniform and everything, man.
Yeah, it's crazy how he got up and walked down the stairs.
Hell yeah.
Like, I'm just like, after being stabbed 14 times, he literally like had to get out of that mental
state I would jump up
to get up and walk down. Like, it's crazy.
People get poked one time and die.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
What was he getting hit 14 times? And Tory doesn't have the cushion. Like I know one of my guys, big dude, he got shot, but the fat kind of saved him. And when I was over 500 pounds, a bullet gonna fuck you up anyway. Yeah. But Tory getting stabbed, he has nothing but bone skin to whatever it's going to.
Yeah.
Wow, and they get hit 14 times.
Like if you're like thicker, obviously it might not hit you the same.
Right. For and I mean, like when I was 500 pounds, if that would, God forbid, if I would have got shot, it would have fucked me up. Yeah. But the amount of fat and distance that I would have had to travel through could be a little different than it just penetrating like what I am now. Right. Don't shoot me now either though. I don't need to be proved right.
The fact that I guess the guy came out and said that he thought that Tory Lanez was going to go after him.
Of course.
So he was prepared, and he heard that through the grapevine or whatever. And then
they need to check that grapevine.
And him saying that he thought Tory also had something in his hands. So it was just like, I'm gonna hit first before he hits.
Hey man, I love how you say he thought Tory had something in his hands. Like, dude, you secured 2 knives to you, bro. Yeah. This wasn't like you just out there like, oh shit. Yeah. And then the way that the attack went down, and you never, we watched the video, and you never want to see too much. Yeah. But there was a point too where the angle that they had, it was like one of those mirrors that would look at the rest of the tier or the rest of the floor. I was like, dude, that mirror's in the way. And not that you wanted to see him get tortured, but damn.
Yeah, there's so many people out coming to his defense now because everyone's saying that he's not guilty of shooting him at somebody else, right? And like there's new video that came out, and I think it's like the cops camera.
Right.
And witnesses are talking
body
camming. Witnesses are actually they recorded the conversation with the cop and talking to witnesses, and I guess one of the witnesses says like he saw her shoot her.
So Kelsey shoot Megan,
her,
but you hear her shoot her.
Yes, as opposed
from the body cam.
He shot her.
It was her bodyguard or her driver, Kelsey's bodyguard, the one that came out.
Yeah, but now there's something.
Now there's audio.
Just right before we went on live, right before we went on, literally. There's some audio that came out.
I don't know if we put it up there already. If it is up there, if you see anything like that,
hold on, let me see.
But there's a lot of people coming to defense and wants them to get pardoned, and Gavin Newsom, you should do something. Amber Rose specifically, one of them, who definitely came out. And was just like,
why you are advocating for Tory Lanez?
I'm advocating for Tory Lanez because the evidence.
What do you want people to know about why?
Did they cut
why
that?
You are? What do you want people to know about why? Why you are advocating for Tory Lanez?
I'm advocating for Tory Lanez because the evidence shows that he's innocent, and he deserves to be pardoned by Governor Gavin Newsom. He's 100% exonerated from the gun. And for that alone, he should be home with his family.
Well, the DNA showed that it could have been any of 4 people, but he sent the text apologizing, and Megan Thee Stallion and her friend Kelsey there that night said it was him. What do you do with that?
Well, I heard the whole story from Tory's mouth. He called me personally from prison, and I now understand why he said sorry, and it's not for any shooting at all. So I'll let him tell that story when he comes home. but the sorry was not for what people think it was for.
I'd be like, fuck that, tell that story now.
Yeah.
Like they gave me 10 fucking years.
Yeah.
Hey, tell her when he come home.
Yeah.
Man, this dude done got stabbed 14 times, all this shit. If there's something that's going down that could get him out, get that dude out of there.
Yeah, man.
I just think it's so interesting that how many big names are supporting him. Like right now, one of our chats to our listener, Marbell, she said that I still feel like it was a setup. I always felt like he was not guilty. Even Drake speaking out, like that's a huge celebrity. So I feel like if there's nothing that, I don't know, I'm starting to kind of believe in it.
I'm just saying this, man. Tory had enough money to get the best defense, right?
Yeah.
And when it started, at what point do you raise your hand or your voice and say, it wasn't me?
Right.
You know, is it right when you're being, the police are there, the interrogation? Is it once you get locked up, once you get or denied bail, once you're going to court?
That's a lot.
When do you? Yeah, now that you're sentenced and you got like a 10-year bid, you've been shanked 14 times. Like, at what point do you say, I didn't do it? And he said it.
Yeah.
But at what point do you not start bringing people in and, the driver and this motherfucker and her and this and be like, man, I'm not doing no time for what you did.
Exactly.
Like the same way it was Kelsey that recorded him, I would have been recording somebody else. Like, hey, you shot her.
And
I'll be tacky. They didn't know they didn't know what I was doing from the beginning. Like, hey, what's up, baby? How you doing, Kelsey? All right. Why you shoot her? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or the option on
foreplay, right to fucking.
Like on my Android, on the option, if I want to record a call and I'm calling you, it'll give you the prompt. This call is being recorded.
Yeah.
Hey man, why'd you shoot her?
Hey man, did they say this call being recorded? Oh man.
But I'm not doing no time for somebody that, especially if I didn't do it. Like it's just like I'm standing up for myself.
And I'm at an age now. I got kids and all that shit. I remember back in the days, we almost get caught up. You're like, oh man, we did.
Does Tory have kids?
Yeah, I think he has one son.
Yeah, see, there's reason to be at the crib, bro.
And it's crazy because right before all of this happened big, it was when he was going on his lives and he was like on top of the world. And this and we were like, oh, look, Kylie is over here partying with him. Megan's partying. Then this happens.
Man, whatever it is, man, God willing or, whatever, it'll play itself out. And what's wild about that, man, if Tory is innocent, that is fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he is innocent, man, because he could have died.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying? Guilty or innocent, man, that person went to kill him.
Well, supposedly that's why that bodyguard had came out, because they were like, oh, I like they felt bad that he got stabbed in there. So that then he was like, oh no, actually Kelsey did it.
I would feel bad if I just knew you got arrested.
Right.
I would feel bad if I knew you were going to court. If I knew you got convicted. So you was gonna let me do 10 years.
Right.
If I didn't get stabbed.
Yeah.
Now that I got shanked 14 times, now you got a conscience? Like, man, I get out and kill you.
There's a rapper named King Yella that I saw him talk about this because he's been in prison. He was thinking that I think it's the guys and it's the somebody inside.
Really?
It's an inside job.
Right.
One of those situations.
I don't play a lot of audio.
Oh yeah.
Is it one of these things?
No, he's been there.
Somebody's name.
So he's kind of he's telling you what should have happened if that thing went down. Just
okay, so it's about a minute 18 seconds. If I hear something that sounds like 100%. Organized, I'm bringing this shit down.
Yes.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna monitor it. All right, here we go.
When there's a situation like
I don't like it already.
When there's a situation like a stabbing like this, like what goes on with the yard?
First of all, see, he's not a member. I don't know. He out there thugging, the niggas act like they with him, but obviously he was paying for protection or whatever was going on, or taking care of niggas. And obviously, when something like that happened, because it's a race, it's automatically supposed to go up. That's hands down. He black, he got stabbed by a Mexican. It's going up like that. That's automatic. It's not that's how you know it was set up, gang. Ain't no way possible that you stabbed 14 times and the yard just stayed regular.
Did I say that?
Ain't no way possible. That whole was set up. The guards probably knew it was finna happen. Everything. Fool want to get his little clout, a little 30 minutes of fame with this shit. Ain't that, bro. You can't even do it. Like, you touch him up. automatically, bro, that gonna shake.
Yeah, that's what and Charleston White, I think, made that same point, and so did somebody else. They made that same exact point. It's like, hold up, he's got touched by somebody from another race. It's supposed to automatically go up.
That's automatic, hands down. There's nothing to talk about. This growing up.
That's great.
That's how you know it was set up. It was bullshit.
And to my crew that did the editing, you know, and I don't know if it was them, but the curse words were edited out, but the N word they didn't play.
I know, I heard it in
Jesus
there.
Christ, man. Come on, man. Like, if anything gonna get cut out, bro. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's definitely gonna be crazy in there, though.
oh, yeah. And then what happens? Where does he go now? You know what I'm saying? Because if it's a hit, then that whatever that jacket is, that's gonna follow you. You know, I love Ani, and you know, when Ani was living in Fantasy Island, she was like, he should be home now, right? Like, no, if that was the case, everybody gets stabbed.
Just get stabbed and go.
Yeah, man.
That was a thing.
Yeah, this ain't like the military where you get hit and they send you home. Yeah, she was like,
Yeah, after him, let him go home.
yeah, man, that dude is in prison. Yeah.
Because even in PC, they're still have.
Oh yeah,
you know,
protective custody. Yeah, you can still get got. You know what I'm saying? And then some. There's some. You know, there's double agents in there as well. I'm acting like I've done so many years on the yard. You know what I'm saying?
Someone once asked in comments.
I go all by homies, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta listen to Big. How long did Big do? Nothing. You know, you got some. You know, nothing crazy.
But I still do want to know.
Hey, man, I'm over here telling them myself nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying?
The real reason, though, because obviously it wasn't because he felt like he was threatened.
Yeah, I don't want to know the real reason.
It could have been. That's all it takes, really. If you're in prison,
no.
If you feel and you're mentally in there and you kind of think, hey, someone's coming to get me.
But on that card too, though, bro,
you just
what could
like,
Tory do to him without it being
okay?
I feel like it was the privilege. Like maybe he felt like Tory was getting too much privilege. Tory didn't want to like
jealousy,
you know, jealousy, and Tory didn't want to like give him some of his stuff.
It was probably hey man, and it could have been orchestrated by, you know, his race. Somebody else got him.
Yeah.
Maribel thinks that it happened because the guy wanted attention and he was going to get on TMZ. Maribel in our comments.
Because he was already
Who's
doing
Team
life.
Tory?
He's a lifer.
Yep.
But
look at me. Maybe he's a Leo. Maybe he's one of you.
Don't. I just feel like
Hey, Maribel.
That's what she said.
It could be.
It could be.
Maybe,
You know, real talk. It could be. You know.
You never know. Like, there's comments going back and forth about is he guilty, is he not? Right now on our live, like we got Optical K9 saying he's apologizing.
Oh, shout out to Optical K9 too.
What up, Optical?
He's apologizing in the call. If you truly blacked out and woke up in jail, you don't say I'm sorry. You ask, what the fuck am I in here for? What happened? You know I didn't do anything. Tory is a goof.
Yeah. Well, hell yeah. If I wake up and I'm locked up or chained or something, I'll be like, hey, hold on, man. They be like, Big, you a snitch. I'll be like, yes, I am.
Sure.
Yeah, I am a snitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, who do you think did it? Hold on, please.
Let me get the correct spelling.
Yeah, like who did it? Him. You know, yeah, man.
Him.
Hell yeah. I'd be like, man, put me on a secure line and I will call him right now. You know? Nah, man. Hell no, man.
But man, there's another comment that does say
you
from
don't want me to
Cedric.
leave, huh?
Yeah.
Just one more.
I got
Sorry.
a dentist appointment, my ear all swollen and shit.
The
Like,
chat is on fire.
oh, yeah. Well, fuck. Like, shit, you got to stay here and talk to these motherfuckers, too.
I got you, Cedric.
Yeah. I already missed my ear appointment yesterday.
Oh, man.
Okay, I can't even hear this fucking show.
You gotta put it in sound.
Hell yeah, man.
You gotta put captions
All my
for you.
shit is coming over here. Anybody talking from the left, I can't hear you.
You gotta
Wait
put
a minute,
captions for me.
Yeah, man.
I was like, am I on your left?
Now what's going down?
But Cedric Green said that terrible for an innocent man, but when you're in prison, you can't posture to intimidate people that have nothing to lose. Playing in front of someone's cell door is very dangerous, and no one outside of California can explain anything about what happened in California prison.
Hey, man. And who's that? Who's
Cedric Green.
Cedric Green. Cedric Green, he know.
From experience, looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Cedric Green got an ID.
Yeah.
He sound like it, man. But I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, man. If anybody want to hang out, I'll be right over here at Dr. Ms. Robin. But thank you guys for hanging out with us live, man. Once again, we started off with Neama. Neama, thank you so much. Neama Rahmani from West Coast Trial Lawyer. And I mean, that dude, he shined so much when it came to the Diddy situation. Thank you for that. Thank you guys for hanging out with us up in here, man. And as always, when we do these lives or any of our content, make sure that you subscribe to Big Boy TV, all 4 of our channels, man. Thank you guys for hanging out with us live. We're going to go ahead and get on out of here. We're a Big Boys neighborhood, and we are gone.